Hey guys, today I'm gonna do an in-depth guide of the Oranos versus Zeus matchup, specifically on land. I'll just get right into it. So I'm not gonna be describing the opening build order since it's more of an advanced guide. But here I'm just looking for my second hunt patch first with all my 3 oracles. And I'm hotkeying all of them on 1, 2, 3. Let's go take scout a bit. Yeah, but in this guide I'll just try and show all the, or describe all the strategies that Zeus can do and what you should do as an Oranos player to counter it. Yeah. Build order. These pigs. So generally, I like to try and move to my second hunt as fast as possible. Just in general for Oranos. You don't have to really worry about drop-off sites, so like here I can see this hunt, so I can just go there now with the 1 villager. I don't think I really need to scout that much more once that, because I know where my hunt is. I generally know where the gold mines are. I know where my TCs are, obviously. I'm Oranos. Make sure you're building your house. But here I'm setting all my oracles just to scout around his base so I know where his resources are. Here I'm just thinking where I want to send my next villager. I think I might just send it forward here. Or I can just send it to this one. I'll be a little bit more risky just to show maybe the build. Oh, I guess generally they would probably be attacking this here to then make it go away, so I'll turn it back. If they ever attack your oracles with the scout, you just send them back to your town center. There's no reason to lose it. Unless you're like specifically trying to run him away so he doesn't see where your hunt is or something. That can be used. So I'm trying to send the pigs back in a path that scouts for me, as well as making it harder for him to grab them. Here. So 3, 2, 2. And then you want to build a house on your most exposed hunt that you're gathering at. Because something that the Oranos will do is they might get an archaic hero, which they'll probably get out at earliest 334, and they'll try and harass your villagers. And besides that, they should get a 330 at the latest, and a 430 classical age at the latest, which they can either go Athena or Hermes, which means there could be a Minotaur or a Centaur, and you want to make sure that this villager is protected. But you get hand axe when you can afford it. And then something I like to do is just sort of shift click my villager closer just so they don't miss the first shot as much. Here he goes through Athena. Or, this isn't a time that they usually go up. It is possible for Zeus to get up at 416, but Zeus players will rarely ever do that. I like to build my buildings with my gold villagers. I have all my military buildings on my 5 hotkey. And then the goal of these Promethean offspring are just to scout his villagers and harass them like a little bit, but you don't want to lose your offsprings. Generally, they're very useful for scouting their entire base. Once you've sent one more to gold, you keep sending more to food. Here, I found the Mino. They're not hunting there. Now, you only, you want to use your Valor on 2 Murmillo and only 1 Terma. So you can garrison one of your Terma into the counter barracks before using your Valor. But yeah, you want to use that as soon as possible. Here, you can hunt a bit more. And now you're just massing here. Usually they can pressure here, as I mentioned earlier, in which case you just want to garrison the villager or run it back. They're really, if you can't hold out. I usually build a house at wood. So you can see my wood is starting to stack a bit. Now I have this. So what I can do is send... So this is more of an advanced guide. You kind of need to know how to use your macro. But usually you want to be poking at their army at this point, or their villagers. Just trying to pressure anything you can. Make sure you're always making villagers, even if you have to cancel production, which you might have to do because you might go iffy. I shouldn't have microed that. If they're going centaurs, you want to use your shockwave to kill them. Try and, yeah. Make sure you're building houses. The screen's really small, so it's hard to see stuff. Okay. If you're ever doing stuff at home, just send your army back. I'm use my units a bit to attack this. And you always want to use Valor, the villager. This will let you create more villagers in the later stages of the game. I don't know what. Not the best macro. And then I'll pause here. So you need to be thinking about what they're trying to do here. They might want to be taking a TC if that secures a gold mine. Or especially if they're going centaurs, sometimes they'll just get a second TC. Or they'll be fighting... Well, I guess I should describe all the strats that they could do. So the first one is Hermes centaurs. They'll go centaurs, they'll build a barracks. So they'll have centaurs or a stable. And then they'll go stable units and centaurs. So that's strat number 1, which you basically just need a micro well. Use your heroes on the centaurs and the rest of your army to kill the Hippicon or whatever. You use your shockwave to kill centaurs. Since those are they're investing a lot into the centaurs, so you want to kill them if they're making those. Another strat they'll do is 2 heroes. They train 1 extra centaur, get the centaur upgrade. They'll auto queue villagers to gold, and then they'll build a town center. And in that case, you can either try and pressure with just army, like you just train it like you do here, or you can instead queue an extra villager to wood, like earlier in the game, and then you take a town center. You stop making Terma or Murmillo. You can stop making both of them just to take a early town center. And you just want enough units for the Valor and enough Murmillo and Terma to kill the heroes. Otherwise, yeah, you should be fine then. But then the other play that they can do is Athena. With Athena, they'll get the Minotaur, which you do want to try and pick off if you ever can, since it's pretty scary in fights sometimes. But they'll usually get a stable and a barracks, and then they'll auto-queue units. The barracks, stable. If they ever go Toxicity, like archery range, then you always want to just use your Terma on the archers. Yeah, you can usually out-micro them a lot if they get archers. Okay, cool. But here, I want to start, once I have 6 on food, I want to start like getting some resources to start building another town center. I shouldn't. House. But here I know if he's taking this town center, I know if he's on this gold mine, or this gold mine, or if he's going to go to this town center. So the oracle placement's very important. Yeah. Here I can create a town center now. Take town centers with 2 villagers. You can get your economy upgrades. Generally your playstyle would be very fluid. There's nothing in particular that's like much worth it than anything else. So just try and like, if you're gonna train army, then you want to get value from your army. Otherwise you can get economic upgrades. Well, you only want hand axe, pickaxe. You don't want to get bow saw or shaft mine early in the game. It's better to go second town center. But otherwise just train army and then get the upgrades medium and yeah, get the medium upgrades once you have about 12 of the unit. 10 to 12 of the unit is like, that means that it's worth it. Yeah. Okay. I guess well, I guess something else I can explain. There's different strategies. Usually you do want to go for a second town center, but it is possible to stay one town center and go for an heroic age, and you basically try and you go with Hyperion, and use chaos and satyrs to win fights and try and pressure their gold. Generally you don't want to do this, and it's safer to just get a second town center. And then once your second town center is going up, you then try and get heroic with Hyperion. Unless you're getting a lot of value with your army, in which case you can keep making army. Or you can go to third town center and make and then if you go for a third town center, usually you want to try and jump straight to the mythic age. Like with a boom. So generally it's kind of fluid, so 1 or 2 town center heroic, or you go 3 town center into mythic. And that's generally how it goes. And generally once you're going heroic on 2 town centers, you want to pick up a 3rd town center, otherwise you're going to get max pop. So here I can restart making units, because usually I'd be losing army when I'm trying to kill his units. But generally you don't want to lose too much army, unless you're making them lose a lot of army. Because Oranos is generally good at just fighting totals. And you might, like, if a lot of your Murmillo are dying and your Terma are surviving, you don't want to get too many Terma, otherwise your army comp becomes very imbalanced and you can't win any fights. You can stop making Terma and transition to farms or whatever you need to keep making Murmillos or go to the heroic age. Okay, I really can't see anything on the map. You can scout later in the game with just one terma. If you're max pop, stop making units. Or if you're nearing max pop, you want to stop making units and just keep making villagers. Okay, my macro is getting pretty imbalanced here. For a farm transition, you're going to need to put some more villagers onto wood. Generally want husbandry before you go on pigs, but you typically want to be scouting their hunts. Make sure they're not doing that. Here I found some hunts. Here, generally you want to build your farm safer under your town center, otherwise they can be destroyed, and they do cost 200 wood. I mean, generally you're not going to be able to destroy Atlantean farms, because like Atlanteans usually pressuring with their army a lot. Here I can go heroic at 13 minutes. I'll be up at 13 minutes. And then I'll go instantly to mythic. Well, I should get second town center. Move these to that. More wood. Second town center. Make sure I'm not losing army. Generally, you're doing a lot of micro here. Attacking, you can split your army into 2 groups. But see, here I'm max pop, so I need to be taking this town center. Raid their wood lines. I think I've killed all his villagers, so I don't know if he even have anything. Just get a couple. You at least want to get the baseline economy upgrades. The later ones are not as important. Just because of their cost. And you generally want to spend less on upgrades and more on just trying to get your mythic at the fast time. Here I can get shaft mine. Those villagers. Usually I should have been max fills already, but since I was max pop for a bit, and I wasn't making villagers the entire time. Oh yeah, you always want to build some barracks while you're going to the heroic age. That way you can start making Arcus. There's also a push you can do in heroic if you get a palace, and then you make destroyers in Arcus. Stop making Terma. Terma fall off late game, because well, they just, like, Terma don't have very much attack compared to, like, in Murmillo in an actual fight. So generally they're just good for raiding, which sort of falls off later in the game. But once you're mythic, you want to throw down your target gate. Generally don't want to just throw down your target gate on like anything random. Alright, let me pause. So your Tartarian gate, like, well, it spawns like 6. I think it's 6 like spawns. Which like will basically get value over time, but if they just can instantly destroy it either with a lot of villagers or with some army, then you're not gonna get like almost any value from it. So it's important to place it at a place where it will take a while for them to destroy it. So if they had like a town center back here, but they didn't, as long as they don't have that many villagers near it, then it would be a good place to just hit them here if you're fighting over here, because their army's going to be preoccupied with your army, and then they're not going to have anything to be able to deal with this. And generally you should be in their mythic age before they hit the mythic age, because once they're in the mythic age, they'll go through Hephaestus, they'll get a what do you call it, Colossus, which can easily take it down, and they can also get like Bellerophon and all the heroes just to kill the thing. So generally you want to be like quick with using it. Yeah, but something like the Destroyer Arcus is very good for pushing against as long, like, cause yeah, it's just good for pushing. I guess I'll leave it at it. But here, I guess I'd start making even more upgrades, like at Fortified TC. I want to get TC, they can actually get it. Start getting army upgrades. Another important thing is the Lampades. You use it for converting their myth units. Since your Valor starts to fall off and you don't really want to be making too many heroes, you mainly want to use the Lampades. Then you also make Satyrs. Well, they're good in the heroic age. Otherwise, you typically wanted to go with the Lampades. Yeah, I don't think the matchup's too special. Just trying to understand that they can pressure and you want to be killing their centaurs early in the game, and that taking TCs early is important. Usually at around 8 to 9 minutes you start building your second town center. And then just know, like, it's like all the fundamentals of Oranos are sort of present in this match. Because Oranos just doesn't really need to alter their build very much. Their game plan. You just sort of make army if your army's working. Or you can get some upgrades and TCs and go through the ages. Yeah, well, thanks for watching. Hopefully that helps. Especially you, DM Quinta.